Hey folks, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to be in class. What I've done, as I've explained previously, is I'm creating a couple of tutorials here, video tutorials that you can watch, and then go ahead and continue to do what we've been doing in class. So right now we're working on tutorial 2. You should have finished all of the tutorial and the review and the quiz for tutorial 1 already. So for March 27, you should begin working on this is tutorial 2. So this is just an electronic version of the book, and you can see what may be familiar on page EX67. So formatting a workbook text and data. So this is going to be a series of a couple of videos here. So um, don't forget you got a pause button, and you can stop and you can rewind it and you can look at things again. But what I want you to do is to spend a few minutes looking in your book on page 68 and 69 on the pictures there of the spreadsheet that they have. Look at the green boxes. Make sure that you're just familiar with it. And you should begin to be able to kind of understand what it is they're talking about here. You don't need to memorize things, but look at some of the things that they're talking about here. They're talking about merging cells. They're talking about being able to change fonts just like you did in Word. And look at this, how they've rotated the text over here on the left-hand side of this, where they've listed the states. They're showing you some of the accounting and percentage styles um, that are available with Excel. And then on page 69, you can see that there's some other things as well there. The number group, there's a fill, there's a background fill option that you have there. There's comma style text, and again, all the familiar sorts of sliders there for magnification, um, that sort of thing. So then as you flip through here on page 70, there's no steps here, but one of the things with Excel is people can get really carried away and make it look mathy or like an engineer built it. So that's not what you really want to do with Excel. What you want to do with Excel is to create readable sorts of spreadsheets that may serve different kinds of purposes. So just remember what it is you're trying to figure out or create or generate or whatever it is you're trying to do. Keep that in mind. It's really important. So the first thing you want to do is, so again, on page 71, sorry about that, ended up getting a phone call there, but on page 71, you're going to open up the sales workbook as it shows you here. And so you're looking for that Excel 2 tutorial folder, and the one that you're looking for is called sales. We're going to save it as sales report, or preceded by your initials. So I'm going to go look for mine here. And I've got my student data files already open here. So I've got my Excel. It's under Excel 2. It's under the tutorial. And the one that they want you to open up is called sales. So open that one up. You're going to have to enable editing here and choose File, Save As. I'm going to put it right back into the same spot. And I'm going to call it MRH Sales Report, right? Okay. MRH Sales Report, and here's my sheet. So at the bottom of page, actually on step 2 at the top of page 71, they want you to go to the documentation sheet, put your name here in cell B4, and then also put the date. So enter whatever the day is today, 3/26/2015. It's already got the purpose in there. I'm going to save my work just because I'm freaked out when my computer restarts. At the bottom of page 71, to format the company name and slogan in the documentation sheet. So we want to format this. So in the documentation sheet, select cell A1. And I can tell that I'm in cell A1 by looking at the name box here at the top and also seeing that I've got my cell A1 kind of highlighted in green. It's the active cell, and on the Home tab we want to go to the font group, and in the font group we want to choose the font button arrow, and we want to see what all the fonts are here. And there's going to be a bunch of them. So you can actually change the look of the font just by highlighting the item without clicking it. But they want us to they want us to look at Algerian to begin with, but don't point to it. We want to choose Calibri Light. Okay, we want to choose Calibri Light in the theme fonts. So choose Calibri Light, and now we want to change the font size in that cell A1 to make it 26. So we're going to make it 26, and then we're going to bold it. And so there's two ways you can do that. You can choose the B for bold, or you can press Control B, which will also make it bold. So then select cell A2, and then once you're in cell A2, we want to make this size 10 font. And then when we want to make this italic font, there's two ways to do it. You can press Control I, or you can just click the I to make it italicized. And then on step 11 on page 72, select the range A4 through A6, A4 through A6, and they want us to bold these as well. So you can press Control and B as in boy for bold, and then click off of it somewhere else, and now you've got bold fonts listed for A4, 5, and 6. You look at the picture on page 73, you should see on your screen what theirs looks like on that picture on page 73. So if I come back to here, I'll take you to page 73, and that's the picture that you want it to look like. Should be good. Now we're going to apply a font color. So I'm going to go back to our spreadsheet here. I'm in the documentation sheet, and select the range A1 and through A2. So you want to get A1 through A2. The company name and slogan are chosen. So on the Home tab, click the Font Color button arrow. So the Font Color button arrow, and point to the red color, the second color in the standard color section. So it's that one. So choose that. And we've got red text for cells A1 through A2. You can also see how that text kind of leaks over onto columns B, C, almost to D, actually in row 1. But remember, it's only part of the A1 and A2 cells. So on page 75, so we're going to format part of the company slogan. So double click in cell A2. And then what we want to do is we want to highlight Big Flavor to select that. And then once we have that selected, there's a little mini toolbar that shows up here. And it gives us a few options to change the font size, bold, italic, etc., etc. So we want to make this part of that cell size 14. So what we've done is we've just changed part of the text in that cell to be slightly larger. Okay, so you can see we've got Big Flavor in larger text than the small price. And if you look at the bottom of page 75, you should see like the figure 2.5 that the Big Flavor is larger than small price. So I moved over onto page 76. We're going to change the fill and font colors in the documentation worksheet in step 1 at the bottom. page 76. So select the range A4 through A6. And then we want to find the fill color button arrow, which is going to be right here. So if I hover over top of it, it says fill color. Eventually you'll begin to see these images and you'll be able to figure things out a little bit. So we want to click that, and then we want to choose the red color in the standard colors section, the second choice there. We're going to choose that, and then in the font group, click the font color button arrow, the one just to the right of it, and we want to pick the white background 1 color in the themes section. So the white background 1 color, so it should be the first one. And then, so you've got white text now with red background. If you click off of that, you can actually see it a little bit better. So B4, select cells B4 through B6, and then we want to do these with the red font and a white background. Okay, so let's choose a white background for these, and then we want to do a red font. So kind of the reverse of what we did in A4, 5, and 6. And then the last thing they want us to do there on step 5 on page 76 is to increase the width of column B to 30 characters. There's a couple different ways you can do this. So one way is to click on the word on the letter B column, right click, and choose column width and make it 30. And choose OK. That's one way. The other way you can do it is just to drag it back and forth, and if you notice there's a little screen tip that shows me what's happening there. So once I get it to 30 and let go, so watch when I click and hold, you can see it says width 28.5, 29, and there's 30. It's not really important. I'm not going to take off points if you mess this up, but the idea is you can resize these columns. So select the range A4 through B6, A4 through B6, so you're getting all those cells with that information in it, and then add borders around each one of these. So borders is in the font group, click the arrow, and we want to do all borders, so add all borders around these. So if you look at yours and you look at the picture on page 77, that date is right justified and everything else is left justified. So they've actually got their text wrapped on that in cell B6. I'm not sure if I missed that, but I'll just show you how to do that. If I highlight cell B6 and if I come up here and I click on the wrap text, you should remember how to do that from the previous session. So we're going to, at this point, we're going to add a background. I'm going to add a background image, and then I'm going to take a quick break here. So I'm at the bottom of page 77. So on the ribbon, click the page layout. So click the page layout, and in the page setup group, so in page setup group, find background, and when you click that, it's loading, 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 loading. So we're going to have to browse from a file. And so that is actually already, it's already loaded in your student data files. So find your student data files and then look for Excel 2, tutorial, and then there's the background. So once I select that, it actually did change that, and once I chose insert, there's a new background image there. If you look at your screen real closely, you'll be able to see it. So save your work, take a break, go get a cup of coffee, whatever. I'll come back and I'll pick back up here on the sales report beginning at the bottom of page 78 on step 1.